Hi everybody. I purchased a KLEINN GM Kit 1 for my old Chevy truck. This is a 2009 model. So this will just help you if you want to try to put one in your truck, but this will give you an idea how the parts laid out. So on the tray they give you, you bolt the air tank in and the compressor. You bolt that in first, get everything assembled, and it slides right in to the spare battery tray. Now on this one here, I did add a air hose to it and a nice ball shutoff. I prefer that better. And when I want to drain the tank of air, I could simply just reach this and turn the valve, and then it bleeds the air. I added a air valve, air gauge to it, and it does inflate it to 140 psi. And I use that. I put a T connector right here, so you don't have access to put the gauge. But if you add a T connector and then you plumb it down, it works fine. Right here, I put the high pressure cutoff switch for the air tank on this side, and I have it angled down to get it away from the radiator hose. On this side, I put the emergency air blow valve in case the pressure doesn't stop. It'll protect the tank. Screwed in right here. I put the air intake right here, this little plastic thing. There's a hard plastic line that comes up underneath it. I put it right here. I made a couple brackets. The brackets fit under the dash, under the hood right here. I drilled a hole. I snapped that in place. I had a problem with this because the air line was so hard and I couldn't push it onto the fittings. What I ended up doing was using a match, striking the match, warming up the plastic tubing a little bit so I could slide it on. And I don't know if you can make this out on the bottom of this. Not really. But on the nose of this air compressor right down below, I don't know if you can make it out. I'll try to zoom in. You have, if it focuses, it's a real sharp bend in it right there. So you're going to have to use that same match trick and warm up the plastic and form the right angle bend you need, and then hold it in that position, let it cool off, and it will retain that new shape. The main power comes in right here off the battery. I put a connector right on the battery. It runs down to a weird kind of 30 amp fuse. And I taped it off. I tied it off and onto the main loom going around the battery. And then it's all wired in going over here. And that top button right there, that's the an engine start button. Had that in the garage. I just put that in first. I like drilling holes in the dash. That's fun. So anyway, that's where I put the switch for the horn. Right here. I open up the fuse box in the in the engine compartment. The main power, the ignition power, is right here. I use one of these kind of fuse add a line. So you look on the back of this box over here. It tells you where the ignition is, which happens to be this one's a 15 amp fuse. So you just put it back in. Connects my main fuse to the vehicle, so the thing will run. And then I have it cut twice because I have a dash cam in here also. So that's why there's a wire nut. These things will unscrew if you're under vibration, but what I do to solve that problem, I just put electrical tape around it and I tape it up, so then there's no way it's going to unscrew. So that actually works out really good for me. It's faster than soldering. I'm not the best at soldering. That's why I do it with the wire nuts. As I slide up under the truck, you can see where the horn placement is. It's mounted to that skid plate. The bracket goes, it's real easy installation, 2 bolts goes on there. That's figured out real well. Make sure you put the small horn near that curve of that bracket. The big horn goes on the bottom. But I think that was a fairly easy installation right here. That worked out fine. The kit wasn't hard to put in, but it was very time consuming. So you're not going to do this in an afternoon. You're going to do 2 or 3 afternoons probably. It took me like 4 afternoons to play with this, wiring the switch, putting the parts on their provided plates, bolting them in place, wiring it all up. Takes a while to get it all in, but I think it makes a difference and I like it. What I like about this kit, it also fits under the hood, so it should stay fairly dry. Oh, a final note is, which I forgot to tell you, here's the relay right here on the fender, and next to it I have a on-off switch that's coming off of the ignition. And I added a piece of plastic right here, kind of like keep the water off the switches. I put 2 zip ties right here. So that's how it looks when it's all done. If anyone is confused on the wiring, I just wrote down their notes so I can read it myself. So this is a schematic you really need. It just shows you a positive and negative. Their color-coded wires are hard for me to understand. So I would, if you need help, look at the way this is written and it should be fairly easy. Batteries on the left, it goes to a 25, or they supply a 30 amp fuse, which goes to number 30 on the relay. Comes out of the relay 87, it goes down to the compressor. These are all positive lines, and the compressor is grounded. You have the tank pressure switch that connects to either 86 or 85, doesn't matter. Some instructions say 85 is the ground and sometimes it's 86, but either way will work. And then on the ignition in the fuse panel, if you want to fuse it, you can. Probably want to put a switch on it. That'll be a smart move. So in case you get a problem with the airlines, you could turn it off, so it won't be running all the time. So off your ignition, you want to put a switch, you want to put a fuse. 3 amp fuse is all you need. It will go to the positive goes to the tank pressure switch. Also, it goes to one side of the horns. The other side of the horn relay, or the horn solenoid, it will be negative, and it goes negative through the horn switch, and then it gets grounded. So I'll leave this up for a few minutes so you could copy it if you wish. I'm going to give you 3 horn blasts from the stock horn to the air horn at 20 feet away, 50 yards, and 100 yards. Okay?